So imagine pouring your blood, your sweat, and, your tears into building a business for like 30 years.
Yeah, it's a long time.
It really is.
Yeah.
You've sacrificed weekends, you've missed family dinners, all with this one assumption keeping you going.
That big payout.
Exactly. That when it's finally time to retire, you are going to cash out with a massive, life-changing payout. It's the ultimate light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely.
But what if you sit down across from a buyer, open your books, and they look you dead in the eye and tell you your life's work is, well, essentially worthless?
I mean, it is a terrifying scenario. But unfortunately, it is the reality for a staggering number of founders out there.
Right. And that is exactly why we are here. Welcome to this deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Today's mission is a critical one, and it's a core part of the Hazel Property Group Seller Education Series, How to Value Your Business.
It's such an important topic.
Oh, massively. We have spent the last week buried in a massive stack of M&A mergers and acquisitions deal-making manuals, plus buyer reports and insolvency postmortems.
Light reading.
Yeah, real page turners. But the picture they paint is a huge wake-up call for you as an owner, because most owners simply have no idea how buyers actually calculate value.
That's the key right there. Until you understand the exact mechanics of a deal from the buyer's perspective, you are basically flying blind.
Totally.
We're going to strip away the emotion, the textbook accounting theory, and honestly, the ego. And we're going to look at the raw, unforgiving mechanics of how businesses are actually priced in the real world.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because if owners are walking into these negotiations with wildly inflated numbers in their heads, where are those numbers coming from?
Right, that's the big question.
I mean, it seems like this delusion is actively fed by the very professionals that business owners trust the most. And I'm talking about business brokers here.
Yeah, it is a structural trap. And to be fair, there are highly ethical brokers out there.
Sure, of course.
But you have to understand the business model of the wider brokerage industry, because structurally, it often creates a massive conflict of interest.
How so?
Well, a broker's primary goal, especially at the lower end of the market, is simply to get you to sign a listing agreement.
Right. And to do that, they have to tell you what you want to hear.
Exactly.
Like if I run a successful landscaping company and a broker walks in and tells me my business is only worth £100,000, I'm probably going to show them the door.
Oh, you'd be insulted. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But if that same broker walks in, nods approvingly, and says, oh, absolutely, we can list this for £1 million, well, you are practically grabbing the pen out of their hand to sign the contract.
Totally.
And here is where the mechanics of the trap snap shut. To list that business, the broker might charge you an upfront marketing fee of, say, £10,000.
Wait, so I'm paying them 10 grand just to put my business on a website?
Yes, that's exactly it. And out of that £10,000, the salesperson who pitched you might take a 20% commission.
Oh, wow.
Right. So they just made £2,000. They are going on holiday. They have already won.
So they don't even care if it sells.
It doesn't matter to them that your business is, statistically speaking, never going to sell at £1 million.
That is wild. It's like a real estate agent walking into a crumbling shed in my backyard and saying, oh yeah, I can price this like a luxury mansion. Just pay me the listing fee right now.
That's a great analogy.
And then I'm just left stranded on the market for 3 years wondering why nobody is coming to the open house.
That is exactly what happens in reality. Statistically, these high-volume brokers only end up selling about 20% of the businesses they take on.
Just 20%.
Yeah. They know a sale at that inflated price is a pipe dream, but they already have their upfront fee, so...
They're fine. Okay, so beware of the broker who promises you the moon. But what about accountants?
Accountants.
Because an owner will often say, I didn't use a broker, I had my trusted accountant run the numbers. But even then, the valuations are completely disconnected from reality. Why is that?
Because accountants and M&A buyers speak two completely different languages. An accountant is trained to look backward. They value a business based on accounting principles, things like net asset value or gross recurring fees.
Hold them. Let's break this down. If my accountant is using net asset value, what are they actually measuring there?
So net asset value essentially means if you stopped the business today, what is the stuff you own actually worth?
Like the physical stuff.
Exactly. They are looking at the depreciated value of your office chairs, your laptops, maybe a couple of aging delivery vans in the parking lot, minus what you owe.
Well, nobody is buying my business to get their hands on my 5-year-old Dell monitors.
Exactly. And gross recurring fees is just looking at your historical billing. It's an assumption that past revenue equals future value.
But that's not true.
Not at all. A buyer isn't buying your past. They are buying the future cash flow they can extract from the business.
Makes sense.
There is this one case study in the reports that perfectly illustrates the disconnect here. An owner was running a business that generated just £40,000 a year in actual net profit.
Okay, 40 grand.
But his accountant, using these theoretical models, had convinced him the business was worth £1 million.
£1 million. For a business throwing off 40 grand.
Yep.
I mean, if I have £1 million to invest, I could put it in a basic index fund, do absolutely zero work, and make more than £40,000 a year.
Exactly.
That math makes no sense. But let me play devil's advocate here. Surely an owner knows their own industry better than some buyer swooping in, right?
Well,
If someone has spent 30 years building a brand, shouldn't their gut feeling, their sweat equity, count for something?
this raises an important question, but it requires a brutal reality check.
Okay, hit me.
Running a business successfully for 30 years is an incredible achievement, but selling a business is a totally different sport.
I could see that.
As an owner, you factor in your emotional attachment. You see the late nights, the stress, the fact that this company is your baby.
Right, of course you do.
But a buyer does not care about your baby. A buyer looks at your business as a financial engine. If the engine doesn't produce cash, they aren't going to buy it, no matter how hard you work to build it.
Ouch. That is harsh. But I guess if past performance and emotional attachment mean nothing to a buyer, what are they actually looking at when they open the books?
They're looking for cash flow.
Because they clearly aren't just looking at the top-line revenue, which seems to be the other big trap owners fall into.
Oh, revenue is the ultimate vanity metric. Owners love to talk about turnover.
Oh, yeah.
You'll hear people say at dinner parties, "We are a £1 million business." And, that sounds fantastic.
It does.
But if you have £1 million in sales and your expenses are £990,000, well, you are making £10,000.
You've just created a really stressful, high-risk, minimum wage job for yourself.
Precisely. There's a classic example in the deal-making manuals of a business turning over £250,000 a year, but generating only £90,000 in profit.
Still decent profit, though.
Sure, but the owners went to market demanding £500,000. Why? Because their accountant had valued it at 2 times turnover.
Wait, so they were asking for more than 5 times their actual profit,
Exactly.
and the buyer just walked away?
Instantly. Because as a buyer, you don't get to put turnover in your pocket. You only get to keep the profit.
Okay, so if turnover is just vanity, what is the real metric? I mean, the acronym that comes up on literally every page of these M&A guides is EBITDA.
Ah, yes. EBITDA.
Let's demystify this. What exactly is EBITDA, and why is it the holy grail for buyers?
So EBITDA stands for earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization.
Okay, that still sounds like a terrifying accounting exam.
Yeah.
Why are we stripping all those things out?
Let's simplify it. EBITDA is the true, unvarnished cash-generating power of the business.
Like the raw cash.
Exactly.
Right.
It is the raw money the business produces from its core day-to-day operations. We strip out interest and taxes because those will change depending on who buys it.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right. A massive corporation buying you might have a totally different tax structure and debt profile than you do.
Okay. But what about depreciation and amortization? Those always trip me up.
Think of depreciation as a paper loss. If you buy a massive piece of machinery for £100,000, the tax authorities let you write off a portion of that cost every year.
Right, to lower your taxes.
Exactly. It lowers your taxable profit on paper. But you didn't actually write a check for that depreciation this year. The cash is still in the bank.
Ah, I see.
So EBITDA adds that back in to show the buyer exactly how much raw cash the business generated.
Got it. It's the absolute naked truth of what the business actually makes.
Yeah.
But why is cash so much more important than just a healthy-looking balance sheet?
Because of how deals are structured. In the small to medium M&A space, buyers aren't usually showing up with a briefcase full of their own money.
They're borrowing it.
Exactly. They're using leverage. They're taking out a loan to buy your business. And as one master dealmaker put it perfectly, earnings can't pay a tax bill, cash does.
Wow.
The buyer has to calculate exactly how quickly they can pay off that purchase loan using the business's own cash flow. If your business doesn't generate free cash, the buyer literally cannot service the debt.
So it's a pure math equation.
Yep.
If they borrow the money to buy me, and my business only throws off 50 grand in cash a year, but their loan repayment is 60 grand a year, they go bankrupt if they buy me.
Exactly. They cannot afford to buy you, even if they want to.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though.
Yeah.
Because once we establish this raw cash number, this EBITDA, the buyer doesn't just hand you exactly 1 year's worth of profit and walk away.
Right. They apply a multiple.
They apply a multiplier. And I'm going to be honest, as a casual observer who watches the news, I hear about tech unicorns selling for 50 times revenue.
Sure, all the time.
Even normal businesses on shows like Dragon's Den or Shark Tank seem to get valuations of 10 or 15 times their profit. So if my plumbing business has an EBITDA of 100 grand, I should be expecting at least $1 million, right?
Yeah.
Like a 10 times multiple.
Oh, I need you to brace yourself because the media has completely warped our expectations here. For a traditional small to medium enterprise, a plumbing business, a marketing agency, a local manufacturer, the standard multiple is typically between 1 and 3 times profit.
Wait, 1 to 3? Are you serious?
I am very serious.
You're telling me I could spend 20 years building a solid, profitable company, and a buyer is only going to offer me 1 or 2 years worth of my profits? That feels incredibly low. Why is it so small?
It comes down to one word: risk. Small businesses are incredibly fragile.
Yeah, right.
One buyer we studied shared their exact mathematical formula for this. They don't start at a multiple of 3 and work down. They start every valuation at a baseline multiple of just 0.8.
Wait, less than 1 year's profit?
Yes. And they only add to that multiple, capping out around 1.5 for this specific sector if the business can prove it has strong independent systems.
Independent systems, what does that look like?
Do you have a robust client acquisition strategy? Do you have contracted recurring revenue? A strong middle management team? If you have those, your multiple goes up.
Okay, so what pulls it down?
The single biggest thing that drags a multiple down into the dirt is what we call owner dependency.
Owner dependency, also known as the dependency trap. This is when the owner basically is the business, right?
Exactly.
Like if I'm the face of the brand, I hold the relationships with the top 10 clients, and I close all the big deals. As an owner, I might feel amazing about that. I feel irreplaceable. But to a buyer...
To a buyer, you are a walking red flag. You are a massive liability.
Right.
Let's look at some of the wild, real-world examples from the reports. There was a highly profitable veterinary practice up for sale.
Okay.
But during due diligence, the buyer discovered the founder was the lead surgeon. In fact, he was the only person in the entire building licensed to perform certain high-end, highly lucrative procedures.
Oh, man. So if he sells the business and retires to a beach in Spain, the primary revenue stream of the entire clinic walks out the door with him.
Exactly. The buyer is just purchasing an expensive building with some stethoscopes.
That's a terrible deal.
And it gets worse. Take the example of a service company that claimed to have a great sales pipeline. When the buyer asked to see their marketing plan, the owner said, and I quote, "Bob phones up and we sign Bob up."
I'm sorry, what? Their entire strategy was waiting for a guy named Bob to call.
Literally just waiting for Bob. And when the buyer asked, "Do you ever lose a client when they phone up?" the owner proudly said no because their pricing was so competitive.
Oh, no. So the buyer immediately knows 2 things. 1, you aren't charging nearly enough. And 2, your entire business model relies on Bob picking up the phone.
Exactly.
What happens if Bob retires? Or worse, what happens if Bob gets hit by a bus?
The business evaporates overnight. If the entire revenue stream is locked inside the owner's head or dependent on a single personal relationship, the buyer won't pay a high multiple. They are buying a massive headache.
Okay, but what if I really want to sell? Does the buyer just walk away? Or is there a mechanism for them to buy an owner-dependent business safely?
Oh, they will buy it, but they are going to protect themselves aggressively using a mechanism called an earnout.
Ah, I've heard this term. Walk me through the mechanics of an earnout. How does that actually feel for the seller?
It usually feels like golden handcuffs. In an earnout, the buyer doesn't just hand you a briefcase of cash on day one.
Bummer.
Right. They might give you 50% up front. The remaining 50% is contingent on the future performance of the business over the next 2, 3, or even 5 years.
Wait, so I don't get my money unless the business keeps growing?
Correct. And to ensure those key clients like Bob don't leave, the buyer will often force you to sign a consulting agreement.
Oh, I see.
You have to stay on and work for the new owner for 3 years to transition those relationships.
That sounds like absolute purgatory.
Yeah.
I mean, I built this business to be my own boss, and now I have to sit at my old desk taking orders from a new owner who is probably changing all my processes.
Yep.
And if I get fed up and quit, I lose half my retirement money.
That is exactly how it plays out, and it is incredibly stressful. The buyer shifts all the risk back onto you. It's a mechanism to solve the problem of value when a company is too reliant on one individual.
So how do you escape this?
Mm.
Because if owner dependency and weak systems destroy your valuation and earnouts are miserable, it sounds like you can't just wake up one morning at age 65, decide you're tired, and put a for sale sign on the door. You have to understand this stuff early.
Precisely. You have to build for the exit from day one. There is a phenomenon right now called the silver tsunami, a massive wave of older business owners reaching retirement age.
Yeah, I've read about that.
And the tragedy is thousands of them are just closing their doors and liquidating. They are shutting down profitable businesses because they can't find a buyer, simply because the business relies entirely on them.
That's heartbreaking. So what does a business look like that does sell for a premium?
Buyers pay premiums for well-run, consolidated platforms. They want documented operational processes. They want recurring revenue that doesn't depend on one hero salesperson. And they want a professional middle management team that can run the day-to-day operations without needing the founder to approve every invoice.
Makes sense. You need to be asking yourself the hard questions right now. Who's going to buy this business in 3 years? What about 5 years?
Exactly.
Because the manuals reveal a very specific strategy that smart, deep-pocketed buyers use. It's called buy and build.
Yes. Private equity firms and large aggregators love this model. They aren't just looking for one business to run.
Right.
They are looking to acquire several smaller businesses in the same sector and combine them into one massive group.
Okay, let me make sure I understand the mechanics of this buy and build strategy. Let's say I own a local HVAC company doing $1 million in profit.
Okay.
A private equity firm buys me for a 2 times multiple, so £2 million. Then they go buy 4 other local HVAC companies at the exact same price. So now they own 5 companies, generating $5 million in total profit.
Following you so far.
Have they really gained anything other than just being bigger?
Oh, they have gained massive exponential value. Because a business doing $1 million in profit might sell for a 2 times multiple. But a combined corporatized platform doing $5 million in profit,
Yeah.
that larger entity carries far less risks. It has market dominance. It commands a higher multiple, maybe 5 or 6 times profit.
Oh, wow. So they bought 5 companies for £10 million total. But because they packaged them together, that new mega company is suddenly worth 25 or 30 million pounds.
Exact.
They created wealth out of thin air just by consolidating.
Exactly. The smart owner understands this buyer psychology. If you know these aggregators are out there, you reverse engineer your own company to be exactly the kind of plug-and-play asset they are looking to buy.
So if you're speaking directly to the listener right now, what is the single biggest shift in mindset they need to make today to start moving away from the dependency trap and toward that kind of premium valuation?
What's fascinating here is that it requires a complete reframing of what a business actually is. Most founders treat their business as a place they go to work.
Sure.
It is essentially a high-stress, high-liability job they have created for themselves. But a true business is a financial asset. It is an entity completely separate from you.
Right.
If you can build systems, empower your team, and step away from the micromanagement, you achieve 2 things. First, you get your own time and sanity back today.
Which is huge.
But more importantly, you exponentially increase the multiple a buyer will pay tomorrow because you are proving to the market that the engine runs perfectly without you behind the wheel.
It requires letting go of the ego. You have to stop being the hero of every client interaction and every daily fire drill.
It is incredibly hard for founders because they are naturally control-oriented. But you have to realize that every time you refuse to document a process or every time you step in to solve a problem that your manager should have handled, you are actively draining the future value of your company.
That is a tough pill to swallow. So let's bring this all together. We have covered some intense critical ground today on how to truly value a business.
We really have.
We started by shattering the valuation delusion, ignoring the inflated promises of brokers who just want to pocket a listing fee,
Right.
and realizing that your accountant's backward-looking metrics like net asset value, well, they don't reflect market reality.
Then we moved past top-line vanity revenue and looked at the raw truth of EBITDA.
Yes, the true cash flow.
Exactly, the actual unvarnished cash flow that a buyer needs to service their debt.
And we brought those massive television multiples back down to earth, establishing the standard 1 to 3 times profit reality.
So important to keep that in mind.
And most importantly, we explore the mechanics of the dependency trap and the misery of earnouts. You absolutely must remove yourself from the daily operations so you don't destroy your own exit value.
It is a profound journey for a business owner to take. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over.
Please do.
Consider your typical work week right now. Look at the tasks you are doing, the decisions you are hoarding, and the stress you are carrying. How much of that current daily stress is actually destroying your future wealth?
Wow.
Every single task you refuse to delegate isn't just costing you time today, it is actively lowering your exit multiple tomorrow. You are paying for that control with your own future retirement fund.
That is a heavy but deeply necessary realization. It's been an incredible deep dive today. Thank you for joining us on this Hazel Property Group seller education journey. So, we leave you with this final question. If a buyer walked through your door tomorrow, would you know what your business is worth, and would you be happy with that number?